a gorgeous evening and the perfect venue to talk about the future. I want to thank Dr. William Ingram, the president of Durham Tech, for hosting us tonight. I would also like to thank the team that put all of this together. It was not easy, as you can imagine, logistically, to get everybody here on the same day at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, our time here this evening is short, and I want to make it really clear how important it is to hear in full the state of things in Washington and in the 1st District. To hear directly from his constituents their concerns and ideas to improve their quality of life, and to identify key issues that they want him to focus on in Congress in Washington.
We at Durham Tech understand that great communities are places where economic and social justice are enduring values, and that access to well-paying and meaningful jobs play a principal role in how those values are realized. We also understand that we have a critical role to play in preparing the people for the world of work, so they can begin to realize the just fruits of their labor.
Heidi Carter, I'm the chair of the Durham Public Schools Board of Education, and on behalf of Superintendent Burt Lum and the members of the school board, I bring you greetings. Durham Public Schools has made steady progress on key metrics of academic success. Our graduation rate has steadily increased for the last 6 years to a record high of about 81%. Although our proficiency scores are not anywhere where they want them to be, nearly 3/4 of our schools met or exceeded state growth standards, and our dropout and suspension rates are down and continuing to fall. We have one of the 8 top principals in North Carolina and the top assistant principal in North Carolina. Our Teacher of the Year has won national awards for science education. We have the state's best career and technical education director, the state's best academically and intellectually gifted teacher, and so much more. Our students from every school are accomplishing amazing academic, artistic, and athletic milestones. Last year, we celebrated 3 high schools with 100% graduation rates, 3 Moorhead Kane Scholars, 3 Gates Millennium Scholars, the Best Actress for DPAC's Triangle Rising Stars Award, and the State Middle School Battle of the Books Champions. These are just a few of the great things happening in Durham Public Schools.
I'm going to be very brief, but Congressman Butterfield, thank you for this opportunity to come and for allowing the citizens to really hear firsthand the work that's really happening in Washington. Durham County government stands behind our work. We stand behind our community. We're very proud of this community. There have been some really disheartening things that's happening across the state, but we can still affirm this is a welcoming community and a welcoming environment, and we love Durham. We thank God for each of you. So tonight we look forward to hearing what's coming down from the state level and the ways that we can continue to enhance and improve our community. So again, thank you for your extraordinary leadership and for your passion to this community and your commitment to the Durham community. God bless. Thank you.
District 20 right now. So I welcome you all for coming here this evening. Most importantly, I thank Congressman Butterfield for all of his courage in Washington, for his leadership and standing forth, but most importantly for his commitment to his constituents, and that's something which he gets very high marks from for everyone. Of course, I serve as one of the members of the Senate. Another colleague of mine is here, and I want to make sure I recognize him, and that's Senator Mike Woodard. Senator Woodard, thank you for your work in the North Carolina Senate. And, of course, we also have Representative Larry Hall, who is the leader of the Democrats in the House, and Representative Mickey McShaw, who serves as the longest-serving member of the entire North Carolina General Assembly. So I want to make sure we recognize that. One thing I can say about Congressman Butterfield is he is committed. He has courage. He has tenacity. But most importantly, he's not afraid of taking on the leadership in Washington. Even though he's in the minority at this time, he stands forth with courage. He stands forth with an understanding of the issues, but more importantly, a unique understanding due to his legacy, due to the challenges that he faced growing up in Wilson, due to the courage that his family showed desegregating public schools there, but more importantly, all the history that came from being a strong civil rights attorney and a vigorous attorney through the years and through the decades. One of the few people who's been privileged enough to serve in the North Carolina Supreme Court. in addition to serving as a Superior Court judge. And when he came to Washington, he came with a unique understanding and appreciation for all of those complexities. And boy, do we need it today more than ever, to have that appreciation. It's what it takes, and he's ascended through the ranks. In a place where seniority is everything, he came there, hit the ground running, and now he is fortunate enough and privileged enough to be elected by his colleagues to serve as the chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus, something we can all feel proud of. I know with that unique capacity to understand all those interwoven pieces that he is the leader we need today. He's someone who I network with on an ongoing basis, someone who understands the challenges of redistricting, and as a result of redistricting, virtually all of Durham is in his district today. While we shouldn't have had to go to court to get those districts revised, they shouldn't have stacked African-American voters into these majority-minority districts, we are privileged now to have Congressman Butterfield as the person who's serving the vast majority of Durham County, and that is something which I'm particularly proud of. Thank you, Congressman Butterfield, for all you've done in the past, but more importantly, thank you for what you will do for us in the future. Thank you for that leadership. Thank you for that understanding of what we are needing in this district, uniquely in this district, and I look forward to your message this evening.
Representatives, we have 45 members that represent 3.5 million North Carolinians, and I want to thank Representative Richardson for her help as the secretary to the caucus who keeps us in line. The biggest challenge she has in keeping someone in line is someone we want to honor tonight. And he is known as the dean, not only of our delegation, but of the House of Representatives, H.M. Mickey Mishaw. Now, I want to do something that is called an award presentation, but truly it is all of us who are honored by the fact he served so long, so ably, and with such great leadership. Even today, he is the go-to guy, no matter what party you're in, no matter what you're trying to do in the House of Representatives in North Carolina. I want to read briefly from the tribute that was given on the House floor by Representative Butterfield regarding H.M. Mickey Mishaw, Jr. And this tribute was done on April 5th, on today, April 5th. Mr. Butterfield. Mr. Speaker, I rise and ask my colleagues to join me in paying tribute to a dear friend, Henry McKinley Mishaw, Jr., who was the longest-serving member in the North Carolina House of Representatives and Durham's first African-American member of the General Assembly. It goes on to talk about Representative Mishaw's military service, his great service in the legislature, his great service in the legal community as one of the first African-American DAs in the state, his great service as someone who has represented this community over a long period of time. I won't read the whole congressional record entry. Suffice it to say that I want to give him time to make some remarks because we owe him so much, and he's been such a great example. He's a double eagle, for those of you who don't know, and he takes special pride in knowing that his family's here today.
That's the least I can do, brother. All right. Congratulations, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Once you go through this, it scares you, because what you want to do now is lower the lid on the coffin and put it in the grave. But that's not going to happen. But I want to thank everybody for attending and being here. GK, thank you so much for what you did in the Congress and what you're doing now. The only thing I can say is that I've been blessed by having the opportunity to serve the people of Durham for more than 45 years in public service. Some people say, you know, it's time for you to quit and let somebody else go on. Well, I just got one more little thing to do, just one more little thing. And my wife keeps saying, don't let me beat you home. She's already retired from state government. I haven't yet. So I'm coming. Believe me, I'll get there. But I guess the basic thing is that once you get in the idea of serving the people and seeing that you can accomplish some things, some necessary things, it's necessary for you to stay there to see them get done. I look at these Republicans who are leaving the General Assembly now, saying that, well, what I came here to do I have done, and now I'm going on back. Well, they don't want to stay there to see these things happen, these things come to fruition. To me, that's my point. I want to stay there to make sure that they don't take away what we have put in there over all these years. Finally, let me just leave you with a couple of things that I learned a long time ago. Hell, are reserved for those who take a position of neutrality in the face of a moral crisis. If in fact you take those words, you can't go wrong. The other comes from Dean Alfange, and it's just a little thing. It says, I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen humbled and dull by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I will never cower before any master nor bend to any threat. It is my heritage to stand erect, proud, and unafraid, to think and act for myself, to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. Finally, I'll give you my favorite, which is my benediction from Pearlie. Now, y'all don't know, some of y'all don't know about Pearlie Victorious, but it was a big play. And the plantation owner died, and he had a funeral service, two services, one in the black church on the plantation. And Reverend Pearlie preached a sermon. And after he finished preaching the eulogy, he gave this benediction. Be loyal to yourself, your hair, your lips, your southern speech, your laughing kindness. A black person's kingdom is vast as any other. Accept in full the sweetness of your blackness, not wishing to be white, nor red, nor yellow, nor any other race or face but this. Farewell, my deep and African brothers and sisters. Be brave. Keep freedom in the family. Do what you can for the white folks and write me a care at the post office. And now, may the Constitution of the United States go with you, the Declaration of Independence stand by you, and the Bill of Rights protect you. And may your own dreams be your only boundaries, henceforth, now and forever. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you. My name is Troy Clare. I'm the Congressman's Chief of Staff. Came to Durham in 1999 as a student at Duke University, and never in a million years thought that I would be back here today. But I am very honored to be here today and to serve the people of the 1st District on behalf of Congressman Butterfield. It is a labor of love, and we have a great team and a dynamic team who really has a passion for service. When we hire people in our office, we don't just hire for skill. We hire for heart. We hire for passion, people who really care about what they're doing and who are good people, not just good staff members. And so we work them hard, but we have to. If you do the math, we have one staffer for every 46,000 constituents. One staffer for every 46,000 constituents. So the 16 of us and interns and fellows try to do our best to support the congressman and support 24 counties in doing the work.
Some of you are well acquainted with what a congressional district office may do. For others, what I share with you this evening will be the first time you have heard. One of our constituent services efforts include contacting various federal offices to assist with resolving matters relative to veterans, Social Security, Medicare, Immigration and Naturalization, IRS, and the 15th is coming up soon, Department of Education, Agriculture, etc. We have with us this evening a number of people or families that are represented who engage with our office to assist with matters that are affecting them.
I am the Dean of Business and Technology at Sally B. Howard School in Wilson, and I first started working there in 2004. Congressman Butterfield's office has been assisting us in our pursuit to have high-quality education given to our children at our school. When we started in '97, the vision of the founder of the school was to provide world-class education to Eastern North Carolina children. What I mean by that is, in our school, we have educators from various countries. Jamaica, Philippines, Australia, countries in Europe, countries in Southern America, India, South Africa, and you may go on, the list goes on. At present, we have about 25 to 30% staff from various countries teaching at our school. And that experience enables our students to get a global perspective sitting in Eastern North Carolina, which otherwise would not be possible for them. Now, as we all know, immigration can be sometimes difficult. Getting people here, on even work visas and all, is not very easy sometimes. And I have had some personal experiences where Congressman's office has been of great assistance. And Mr. Saul Hernandez, I saw him there. Wonderful, wonderful assistance without which we could not be able to sustain the program that we have at Sally B. Howard School. I was myself stuck in India for about 2.5 to 3 months, even though I had all the papers I needed to be here. And being at the school for 10 years, I would still be held back by the US consulate. And the kind of energy and the kind of effort given by Congressman Butterfield and Saul and other team members was so amazing that the immigration attorney helping us had to say to me, it looks like it's their own school. It looks like they are themselves so personally invested in your school. And that can tell you how much of personal attention, personal care the whole staff takes here. Recently, a staff member at our school who was supposed to get a 3-year work visa was only given a 1-year work visa. And the department came back and said to Congressman Butterfield's office, that's all we can do. But Dolly came back to me on the phone and said, we're going to try once again. And the moment she said that, I knew something was going to happen. It happened once again. We got the 3 years once again for that teacher. So we cannot thank you enough, Congressman Butterfield, for all the support.
For many years, there's been a vision to create a trail from the Duke Beltline corridor, which is a 2.2-mile unused railroad corridor that circles downtown Durham. With the great assistance from Representative Butterfield's office, we applied for a Tiger grant to prepare a master plan for this rail corridor. And this is a very competitive grant program. I mean, there are usually many multiples of applications and requests that are received for these grants. The City of Durham's application was successful. This was a $222,000 grant with a match from the City of Durham. This trail will connect the people of Durham to jobs. It will connect people to transit. It will help economic development efforts in and around downtown Durham. There's something called the Durham Innovation District, which is getting started. It will be a hub of technology and innovation.
Again, my name is Alex Nickram. I'm a student and the Senate President here at Durham Tech, and I'm pleased to have the distinct honor of introducing Congressman G.K. Butterfield this evening. As many of you know, Congressman Butterfield was raised in Wilson, North Carolina, and attended North Carolina Central University for both college and law school. He's been in Congress since 2004 and has championed issues like affordable health care, education, investments in rural communities, veterans' concerns, renewable energy, and federal programs that support low-income individuals as well as middle-class Americans. Mr. Butterfield serves in the Democratic leadership as Chief Deputy Whip and Chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. He is a veteran of the U.S. Army and a proud father and grandfather. What doesn't appear on his biography, though, is that when it comes to advocating for equal rights and equality of opportunity, Congressman Butterfield has been a lifelong leader. As you heard earlier from many constituents, Congressman Butterfield's office has helped. As you heard earlier from many constituents, Congressman Butterfield's office has helped. Mr. Butterfield has been a tireless advocate and champion for his constituents. In Washington, he's committed to making a difference by advocating for policies that will help grow our economy and produce job opportunities for the people of the 1st District and across our state. The accomplishments of Congressman Butterfield are inspiring. He's a role model for students like me who, despite the opposition and barriers in our way, continue to strive and make the world around us better. I ran for my office in the Student Senate because I looked around and saw that there aren't many people who are willing to step up and advocate not only for themselves, but for those around them as well. He brings the unique perspective of the residents of Eastern North Carolina to the table in Washington, And most importantly, he is a strong leader who listens to our concerns, does his best to work well with others, and votes with his heart to the benefit of all the people of the 1st District of North Carolina. It's my pleasure to introduce U.S. Congressman G.K. Butterfield.
I thank Dr. William Ingram for opening the doors to this great institution. I said to some of his students before we started this evening that I cannot imagine what Durham, North Carolina would be without Durham Tech. I remember the days before community colleges, and it's been partly because of the community college movement that North Carolina is one of the leaders in the nation, and so thank you for the work that you do. To the elected officials here, and I think I know all of you, thank you so very much for coming, and thank you for your friendship. To the honoree this evening, State Representative H.M. Mickey Mishaw, Jr., thank you for all that you do for all of us. Mickey and I have a long-standing friendship that dates back to the first year that I came to Durham as a freshman at North Carolina College at Durham. He was running for the legislature, can you believe, in 1966. I met Mickey on the corner of Pico Street and Fayetteville Street. He stopped his car and gave me some yard signs and asked me to put those signs out for him. And he told me he had actually run in 1964 before I got here, which was the year that Dr. King came to NC Central. But he and I have been friends since that time, and I thank you, Mickey, for all that you do for all of us. To the Chancellor of my alma mater, it's good to see you over there. Thank you for your incredible work at the university, and may God continue to bless you in your great work with North Carolina Central University. And to, yes, let's give her a hand. I told the band students before I came in this evening that I, too, was in the NCC, didn't have you at the end then, the NCC marching band when I was a freshman, sophomore, and junior in college. We used to have to assemble on the football field at 6 o'clock in the morning to begin our practice. And so I want to thank them in their absence for coming. And finally, to the State Director for Rural Development for the U.S. Department of Agriculture. No one has mentioned his name tonight, but anytime you distribute several billion dollars a year to communities in North Carolina, you are the choice of the President of the United States to do that work, I cannot omit recognizing my good friend Randy Gore from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So those of you who are in the room who are from other counties, do not believe that I have just become infatuated with Durham. There will be other similar events in other parts of the district as the year goes on. The 1st Congressional District, as all of you should know by now, is a very interesting piece of real estate. It starts on the campus of Duke University and meanders its way all the way over to Elizabeth City. It makes a right turn and comes down to New Bern and back over to Goldsboro and Kinston and Rocky Mount and Wilson and Lewisburg and Oxford and Henderson and back over to Durham. And between all of those points, there are 733,499 people. That is the size of this district. We have 84 cities and towns, and it is my responsibility and my staff's responsibility to try to serve this district as best we can. And so I want to thank you for the high honor to be able to represent Durham and the 1st Congressional District. Those of you who watch the news, you will know that the 1st District was found unconstitutional on February 4th of this year. And a few days later, the North Carolina legislature convened and changed the contours and the design of the 1st District. And now, beginning on January 1st of next year, the district will be smaller in geographic size, but the same in terms of the number of constituents. I have lost 10 counties. And so the district will now be compressed from 24 counties down to 14 counties. And in order to make the numbers work, Durham, my representation of Durham will now increase from 60% to 90%. So I will be your congressman at least until the next census for 90% of Durham County, and it is my honor. Over whether we will have a country that works for a privileged few or an America that works for all of us. You see, in their America, civil rights were restricted. Economic opportunity was limited. working people were taken advantage of, and there was a place for second-class citizens. In their view, and you know who they are, in their view, that is when America was great. But I have a different view, and those that I associate with in Washington have a different view. We believe that we are all part of God's creation. All human beings deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Every child should have the opportunity to live out his or her full potential, no matter the zip code. We believe that government has a role to play. Yes, the government has a role to play in creating jobs. And those who are blessed with a job have a right to be paid fair wages. They have an entitlement to paid sick leave and opportunity for advancement. To rephrase Dr. King, no one in this country should work full-time for part-time wages. We believe in an America that expanded health care to millions of Americans for the first time in a generation, and I'm so proud of the Affordable Care Act. I sit on the committee that drafted the Affordable Care Act. This country should not deny people the right to marry whomever they love. This is in a country that opened up our military combat to all who want to serve, that appointed minorities to all levels of government. But there is a small minority, not a silent majority, a small minority of people who do not like what they see in this country. Minority unemployment is still higher than the national average. Those who are employed are seeing their hours cut. Single mother households are struggling because the minimum wage has not been increased. Small business owners are still having trouble accessing credit, and large businesses are facing challenges finding employees with the skills to fill open positions. I was talking to the congressman from New Orleans the other day, and he was telling me that he has 7,000 people unemployed in his congressional district in New Orleans. But there are 7,000 jobs as welders at the port in New Orleans. But those 7,000 unemployed individuals in New Orleans are not trained for the jobs of the 21st century. But there is a direct relationship with those who are trying to stand in the way of change and the challenges that we are facing today. When these forces try to focus our politics on what divides us, then we get distracted. We get distracted from providing solutions to the challenges that unite us. The list of what Republicans and Democrats agree on is long. That may surprise you. There is bipartisan agreement that we should fix our roads and our bridges and create good-paying jobs by investing in infrastructure here at home. We have 218 votes for an infrastructure bill, but the leadership refuses to bring it to a vote. Republicans and Democrats agree that we should give localities more control over improving our schools, and we should make college more affordable. We can find 218 votes for that. There is also a bipartisan agreement on comprehensive immigration reform. During the final days of the Bush administration, we were that close to a solution to the immigration issue in America, but it fell apart at the last minute. We may have disagreements on how to achieve these goals, but the opportunity to work together continues to exist. The noise on cable news becomes so loud, the debate becomes so toxic, and a small Tea Party minority blocks things from getting done. The Tea Party, yes, I'm saying it, the Tea Party and the extreme right-wing conservatives are so loud, they are so well-financed, they are so dogmatic in their extremist agenda that very little positive legislation is being debated. And that's where each one of you come in. You are the citizen army that I want to join me in a fight for change, a fight for jobs, a fight for justice, a citizen army that will say to the right wing that you're wrong. You are not going to take this country back. You're not going to take us back to a place that we left decades ago. As chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus, and that is one of the highest honors of my life, representing 46 men and women who together represent 30 million people. As chair of the CBC, I am proud to have the responsibility of introducing the CBC budget alternative. Republicans put up a budget, Democrats put up a budget, the Congressional Black Caucus puts up a budget. We've been doing it for years. And I have the responsibility of introducing the CBC budget to the Republican budget. When I return to Washington next week, I will introduce the Jobs and Justice Act. Under this piece of legislation, I will call for $100 billion in investment in a national direct job creation program to be administered by the U.S. Department of Labor. This $100 billion investment would directly create 2 million jobs and indirectly create over 800,000 private sector jobs. The funds would be distributed to states to be passed through smaller communities and rural areas by elected officials who understand the need on the ground. Officials, yes. We must fight to build support for this bill, not just in Durham, not just in Greenville or Halifax, but by like-minded Americans in every. My office will continue to work with cities and counties to compete for and win Tiger grants. You heard that mentioned earlier, Tiger grants from the Department of Transportation. One of the most important institutions in our government is the U.S. Supreme Court. With the passing of Justice Scalia, the court now has a vacancy. 8 justices now comprise the court, on a court that is intended to have 9, which is an odd number. There are many, many important cases pending in the Supreme Court and working their way up to the Supreme Court that deserve to have a full court participating in those deliberations. A 4-4 decision in these cases could result, the Vice President said it the other day, a 4-4 decision in these cases could result in a constitutional crisis. Within hours following the passing of Justice Scalia, the Senate Majority Leader announced that the Senate would not even consider, they will not even consider any name put forward by President Obama, and the process should stop until the next president is inaugurated. You should know that there are 49 judicial Obama nominees awaiting Senate action as we speak. Not just Judge Garland, but 49 nominees awaiting Senate action. President Obama's choice for the Eastern District of North Carolina, which is most of the counties in northeastern North Carolina, President Obama's choice for the Eastern District of North Carolina was an African-American prosecutor named Jennifer May Parker, and she too was treated as Judge Garland. That vacancy in the Eastern District continues and is now the longest vacancy in the country. Voting rights, I'm almost finished. Voting rights. A few days before my arrival here in Durham as a freshman, Congress passed the 1965 Voting Rights Act. This act had a profound impact on empowering African American communities to effectively participate in the electoral process. Congress enacted a very effective tool in the Voting Rights Act called Section 5. It gives the Attorney General, who now happens to be a Durham native, Loretta Lynch, it gives the Attorney General in certain counties in the United States the authority to review and reject, if necessary, voting changes that discriminate against minority voters. Section 5 has worked and prevented jurisdictions from passing discriminatory changes and discriminatory redistricting plans. But on June 25th of 2013, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Section 5 is a proper exercise of legislative authority, but the court determined that the formula used to determine which counties should be subject to Section 5 is outdated and needs fixing. The court called on us, called on the Congress, to fix the formula, but it has not happened. And so 30 days later, on July 25th, 2013, the North Carolina General Assembly passed, not with the votes of my friends here, the North Carolina General Assembly passed a sweeping voting law, one of the worst in the country, that discriminates not only against African Americans and other racial minorities, but it discriminates against students and seniors. The law went into effect upon passage with no oversight whatsoever. When you look at discriminatory election laws and the 2011 legislative and congressional redistricting, you must conclude that there is a concerted effort in this country and in this state to disenfranchise groups of voters from participating effectively in the political process. Congress must restore Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, and we must do it this year. Every qualified citizen deserves the right to vote and to have their vote counted. We're in the midst of a critical election for the presidency. And no one knew that, did they? We're in the midst of a critical election for President of the United States. And the General Assembly nor the Congress of the United States should ever stand in the way of full participation in this election. So, in closing, my friends, my message to you tonight is simple. The state of our district is that we are under attack. We are under attack, but we are standing strong, and we are fighting back. You are fighting back in Durham. I know you are, and we're fighting back in Washington. We are exposing the racism and the bigotry that have the potential of taking us back to a place that we don't want to go. And so I need you in this fight. Go to my website and sign up to be a member of our Citizen Army. I've got to talk to my staff. Should it be Citizens Army or I guess Citizen Army? That works all right. I'm okay. Citizen Army. We must fight to protect our communities. We must fight to guarantee that every child in America has a full opportunity to achieve the American dream with a strong community, a 21st century school system, affordable college tuition, and a good job that will support them throughout their lifetime. That is the state of our district. That is my message to you, and I thank you so very much for coming.